What's going on, guys? It is Aiden Hutchinson.
What's up, man? It's your boy Amon-Ra St. Brown.
What's up, everybody? It's Calvin Johnson Jr. here, a.k.a. Megatron, a.k.a. First Ballot.
What's going on, Coach Dan at Lions Talk Live and the Duke Crew? This is Ball Hawk Ifeatu Melifonwu of the Detroit Lions. Everybody make sure you help support the YouTube channel Lions Talk Live by clicking that like and subscribe button. Let's get it and go Detroit.
Greetings and salutations to everyone out there in YouTube land. This is Dan Skipper, offensive weapon for the Detroit Lions. Make sure you all help support Lions Talk Live and Coach Dan by clicking on that like and subscribe button. Everybody, woo!
Well, greetings and salutations to everybody out there in YouTube land. I'm your host once again, Dan Thornton, and I want to thank you all for joining us here today. Hey, Lions Talk Live. It is a Tuesday show edition, second day of free agency. I guess you could say it's basically the second day. It is the second day of legal tampering for whatever. Nothing really goes into effect in earnest until tomorrow. But there are some thoughts regarding what the Lions might try to do the rest of this week. We're going to dive into that during the main top of the day. Hey, I give Brad Holmes in the front office for the Detroit Lions a lot of credit. They did try to apparently make a move for Josh Sweat. We'll talk about that, I'm sure, during the 5 headlines now, etc. And it sounds like they were just, hey, Cardinals offered him a better deal. He decided to take it. It is what it is. Kudos to him and his family. Hey, Carlton Davis, sounds like the Lions did try to make an offer to retain his services. When he turned it down, they jumped real quick to get us a new corner. We'll dive into that in regards to DJ Reed. So we'll talk about that during the 5 headlines now. Get in the main topic today. I'm a little tired today. Some of you know the team I coach. We had our fourth round of the playoffs yesterday. It did not go our way, so our season has come to an end. And unfortunately, hey, like everybody, you're either winning the championship or your last game is not going to be one that you're going to want to remember. But great season for the team. Really happy for them. Hopefully they all feel the same way in time. I get the day after is going to be a tough one. All right, let's get this show rocking and rolling and going real quick, though. If you haven't yet subscribed to Lions Talk Live, please consider doing so. We're making that march for 13,400 subs. We're about, 78 or something like that subs away from it. So if you can help out with that, that would be great. Also, if you have a half second of time, it is free of charge. Reach on down, hit that thumbs up button, the like button, all those buttons. It helps the channel out exponentially. So we try to get every episode of the show between 200, 300, 400 or more thumbs up or likes. Last but never least, if you are considering buying or selling property anywhere in the great state of Michigan, let alone the continental United States, go ahead and give me a call or shoot me a text. You see the number on the screen, 269-998-2384. Let me work with you, try to help save you some time, save you some money, save me some effort. Make sure you don't get worked over by anybody in the lending world with overcharging you fees or just whatever it may be. You want somebody who's got your back, go ahead and give me a call. I enjoy what I do as far as a realtor. I have for a long time. I don't do it because I really feel like I have to do it. I just do it because I like meeting people. I like showing them stuff with houses, making sure that or properties, I should say, make sure they don't get worked over by anybody. All right, give me a call, shoot me a text. All right, with all that said, done, out of the way, let's get this show rocking and rolling and going and get into the first segment, which is, as you know, 5 headlines now. Yeah, and I'm going to have to probably replace Carlton Davis in that. Hey, now that the season's over, I guess I got a little bit more time for those kind of things. All right, 5 glorious headlines now, and I think we're going to have a lot more this week. So let's start off back with the Detroit Lions. Marcus Davenport says he can be a dependable pass rusher. Story by Rainer Saban of the Detroit Free Press. A lot of us, you, me, everybody in between, we kind of have raised eyebrows, question marks, why we let Zadarius Smith go and re-signed Davenport. Davenport's deal, now that we know more about the details of it, it's pretty dang cheap. By any veteran NFL standards, it's going to be hard to find anybody that can actually chew bubblegum, walk, and have a Mountain Dew in a hand being an NFL player. His deal is so light that I think, man, he is in it to prove himself. This story kind of dives into that. He understands the rap on him is that he can't stay healthy. He understands, in his opinion, he's just had a ton of just strange situations emerge. Like last year, was it the Arizona Cardinals game? I don't really think it was anything he did to get injured. I think somebody took a couple cheap shots on him that caused the injury. But at the end of the day, it really doesn't matter if you're a team. He's got to stay on the field. He's out there to try to prove himself. The big question from, I think, all fans are going to be, is this going to be the only defensive edge signing we make this offseason? I don't think so. I do think Brad Holmes is just letting the first day or two of free agency kind of pass by, see what's left. I don't think Brad Holmes really wants to overpay for anybody. And because of that, there may be other moves to be made still this offseason. We'll dive into that during the main top of the day. But what do you say about Marcus Davenport? I think at the end of the day, he's going to be a good rotational piece for us, assuming he can stay healthy and a pretty cheap one. I guess we'll have to wait and see. All right, DJ Reed agrees to Lions 3-year deal, $48 million. This is from Clutch Points, story by Douglas Fritz. I think most of us, if you've had an opportunity to kind of digest who DJ is and CD isn't, I don't know if there's a massive difference from one guy to the next. What I can say, breaking him down, trying to get into this so we don't spend all day on it, is that, hey, Carlton Davis wanted to be a Lion, but he wanted to be a Lion at the right price. I also get the Lions, Brad Holmes, they've got certain guidelines they try to maintain. They don't want to go over certain numbers for different positions. Whatever the metrics is, they decide to go in a different direction, or, CD decide to go in a different direction and go over to New England. At the end of the day, the two contracts aren't that egregiously different. There is a difference, though, about $12 million. What the Lions are going to do with that $12 million, I think we have to wait till later in the week to see. Breaking down Reed, though, I would say he's clearly a little bit smaller physically. He does have overall a better health record in recent years. And it does kind of point out that I think Reed is a little bit more of a zone corner than a traditional man-to-man. Now, I don't know him well enough to know if he can play outstanding man-to-man D. That's one thing I'd say with CD3 that he does do. He is a pretty good cover corner in man-to-man principles. Perhaps Reed can do it as well. I just haven't seen it enough on tape. And to be fair, I haven't watched a ton of tape on him. I guess all will be revealed in time. But let's go to the second or the third main topic of the day. Lions apply pressure on Packers by stealing dream cornerback target in free agency. Fan side story by Freddie Boston. Freddie Boston, for those who don't know, he basically covers the Packers. And what we can say for Brad Holmes and the Detroit Lions is that, once again, Big Bad Brad has taken a shot at the Green Bay Packers. We all get it. The Packers wanted to get Brian Branch. Well, you know what? Brad Holmes traded up and snatched him away. And there's been other players in recent years Brad Holmes has stolen right before the Packers got him. Well, it sounds like Detroit Lions and Brad Holmes struck once again by getting DJ Reed. The Packers want him, apparently put out an offer, and then perhaps a most un-Brad Holmes move. Apparently, Brad Holmes said, you know what? If you're willing to pay this, I'm willing to pay that. I'm going to get that guy. So kudos for him. He's, I don't know if it's just happenstance that this keeps happening year in and year out, where whether it's in the drafts or free agency, Brad Holmes seems to steal people away from the Green Bay Packers. But you know what? This is like the third or fourth straight offseason that it's happened. I think Brad Holmes maybe just doesn't want the Packers to get their ideal targets. While we're talking about all these cornerbacks and stuff, Carlton Davis, y'all get it. Just to kind of recap, got a $3-year, $60 million deal. This is from Yahoo Sports staff to go to the Patriots. Now, why I'm bringing this up again is just to point out the differences between Reed and Davis. There's not a huge, I think, in the end of the day, from what we know of the contracts, not a huge one. Also makes me wonder, why did CD really want out of here? I'm sure if the Lions could have worked something out with him, they would have, even if it meant going up a little bit more. I think in time, we'll get the full details and break down what ultimately pushed CD out of here, Carlton Davis III out of here, and why Reed was in place. But I will point this out. The timing of the two, there wasn't much of a difference. I think I went on air yesterday, like minutes after it was reported that Carlton Davis was taking off to the Patriots. And before I even left the driveway, we had news. And I think some of you guys probably saw the video where I had to do it from the car as I was driving out to the school to head to our game. Reed officially was rumored to have signed with the Lions, and it does seem to be the case. Carlton Davis, I think, maybe wanted a new start, and the Lions maybe wanted to go in a different direction. We can all say that, hey, Brad Holmes only signs injured players. Well, you know what? In this situation, he moved on from an often injured guy to a guy with almost no injury history. So maybe Brad Holmes is going in a new direction this offseason. All right, Derek Barnes says he'll be ready for the Lions offseason program. Sideline report by Brad Berryman. There was people that yesterday, and to be fair, I guess it's last several days since Derek Barnes was re-signed by the team, questioning if the Lions should have signed him. Is he really worth the contract? I mean, all sorts of different stuff. I guess here's what we can say in a culmination or conclusion. Derek Barnes, the Lions know what he is. They know what he isn't. They can also say he's probably going to be, for the most part, a 3-down backer for this team and used in pass rush situations. I do think while he's not going to be the answer at edge for us, he'll be one of the people in the mix for it. But prior to his injury last year and even the year before, he did become a situational pass rusher and wasn't that bad, especially in blitzing situations. I think that's going to continue. When you look at his contract details as they emerge more and more, Lions didn't really spend a ton to get him by, every down linebacker situations or averages costs across the NFL. Barnes has more upside, I think, than what we've seen. The last few years, you can see him trending up. I know often we talk about, I'll just bring it up, Broderick Martin, he's a bust or whatever. Derek Barnes is kind of in that same bill in that, you remember his first year, he didn't really play much. Second year, people started calling him bust, wasted draft pick, or whatever you want to say. And then by his third year, you know what? He started emerging. Same as Iffy Melifano, same as other people. I think Derek Barnes is going to start hitting his peak, and maybe he will. I don't think he's ever going to be a Hall of Famer or a Pro Bowler, but I think he's going to be a dang sound linebacker, and that gives the Lions 3 dang sound linebackers on the field. We'll see if Jack Campbell can emerge to be more than just that. Alex Anzalone, I don't think he's ever going to be a Pro Bowler, but I think he's dang good at what he does as a coverage linebacker, occasionally a blitzing linebacker, etc. But, all right, let's move on from all that and get over to the main topic of the day. All right, main topic of the day. Now that the opening day is out of the way for the Detroit Lions, what say you? Where should we go next? What will Brad Holmes do? That's going to be the million-dollar question. I don't know if we're going to get any kind of news from anybody today. One other thing, I forgot to put it in the 5 headlines now. Dan Skipper did resign with the Detroit Lions. He is a fan favorite. I think that's fair to say. I had it pulled up, but apparently I didn't slap it over there. But, hey, there's your bonus. 5 headlines now. It became 6. And, yes, Dan Skipper is returning to the Lions. I am surprised just because I thought maybe they'd save some money and put Giovanni Manu in that role. Maybe they have different ideas for him. We'll have to find out what John Morton has in time. But either way, we're going to go through some free agents that still remain that I think are in play for the Detroit Lions. Time will have to prove it out. One of them is, we've already talked about this guy, I feel like a couple times this week, and that's Edge Ezekiel from the Giants. He's somebody, unfortunately, who is often injured. Lions could get him for a cheap 2-year deal worth probably in the neighborhood of $9 to $11 million. Sounds like a Brad Holmes move, right? Trying to get somebody cheap with some upside, but often hurt. Next one, I think he's probably going to be off the board, and that's going to be Joey Bosa. Sounds like he's going to the 49ers, although I hadn't heard, at least as of this morning. Maybe I should have updated and checked some stuff, but sorry, guys, a little pressed for time. Bosa sounds like maybe he's going over there because, obviously the family situation there. Could Bosa go over there? I don't know. He's another guy that often injured in recent years. He's had some years of high productivity. What would it cost to get him? Man, I'm not sure. There's no doubt he's a good player when healthy, but he's got to be healthy in order to be that player. Bosa, is he a cultural fit? I think so, but I don't really know. I actually like Aziz better when it comes to that aspect of things. I think Aziz is just, the kind of guy, from what little I know of him, keep that in mind. He's just always positive, upbeat, ready to be a good teammate, etc. I like that aspect. Here's the one I really hope the Lions kind of go for, and that's Matthew Judon. I like him. I think you're probably looking at a 1-year deal somewhere in the $7 to maybe $9 million, but he's maybe not the most exciting move for the Detroit Lions, but what does he do and do fairly well? He gets the quarterback. He is 33 years old. I think he's got gas in the tank still if he's a rotational guy. I don't think he can play like, Hutchinson, play 80 or 90% of the games, but could he play 40 to 50%? Maybe still get you some good pressures, etc. I do. Edge Anthony Nelson is another one I would throw out there at you guys. He would probably come in around 2 years, 10 to 13, maybe 14 million. 14 seems a little high, but somewhere in that neighborhood at least. He'd be a strong depth piece for the Lions. He had 33 pressures and 4 sacks in 24. He also played a little bit on offense, which makes things even more interesting if you want to acquire him, because we all get it. Lions like guys with versatility. The next one is one that I really do hope in the next 48 hours we get wind or word that Kevin Zeitler is going to return as a Detroit Lion. To me, this is probably the biggest move for free agency out there. I know we all want pass rush. I know we want sacks. We want to help the defense, but let's also be fair. Keeping that offense strong, especially on the offensive line, I think that's got to be a dang big priority. And if you do this, it takes a little pressure off the draft from in the early rounds from having to go get a guard. Because Zeitler, he played dang well. I think he was one of the top 3 interior offensive linemen last season. Can he do that in another year? I don't know. He is getting older. I want to say he's 35. Somebody can check that and put it in the comment section. My guess is you're probably having to give him $7 or $8 million on a 1-year deal. But hey, again, if you can get him, you keep continuity on that line. The line looks pretty dang strong and good. And maybe either in free agency and the draft, you can continue to work on the defense. If you can't get Zeitler, Brandon Sheriff is probably someone you're going to want to bring in. He's going to need more than likely a 2-year deal, somewhere in the neighborhood of 12 to 15 million is probably what it's going to take. He is a 5-time Pro Bowler. He would fill in. I don't know if he's quite Zeitler's ability levels at this point. Zeitler, man, you're talking about somebody who's fighting off a Father Time with Mountain Dew. That's that dude. But Brandon is a nice piece. He could fill in, allow you to kind of groom a rookie or maybe a young player that you got off somebody else's practice squad and try to get into that role. While staying with the offensive line, Mekhi Becton is another person to consider. 25 years old, so you're going to have to pay him probably a little bit more. My guess is this isn't much of a Detroit move, because my thought is the problem is that you are going to have to pay him roughly a 3-year contract, somewhere between 35 and maybe 40 million a year. I mean, right in that range. So are the Lions going to go that route? I don't believe so. I think they're going to try to develop a rookie while having either someone like Brandon Sheriff or Kevin Zeitler in there to kind of take some of the pressure off him for a year. This one wasn't my idea. A number of you have sent it over to me, though, so I figured we'd go ahead and throw it in there. We get the Lions potentially need a wide receiver 3 if they don't address it in the draft. Let's just assume for now they stick with free agency. Keenan Allen, he might be 100,000 years old, but what he can do is get in and out of breaks still at a pretty good pace and clip. He is a bigger body. I don't think he's got the ideal speed to use the sidelines the way John Morton, it would appear, wants to do this upcoming season. But Keenan Allen is a reliable target. You're probably going to have to pay him a little bit, a 2-year deal. I'm guessing the second year is probably a club-friendly deal, and I think you'd have to pay him more than I would anticipate we're going to do. That's somewhere in the 20 million range for 2 to 3 years. We'll see what shakes out. Safety, Darman Hamlin, I think most of us know who he is because of the unfortunate situation that befell him a couple seasons ago. He wouldn't be just some sort of novelty move for the Lions. He is somebody who can legitimately play, especially in the last season or 2. You could see his play overall develop. He could come in, I think, as the Iffy Melifano role. Darius Slay is not available. He did sign with the Pittsburgh Steelers, so he wants Detroit or Philly. Well, I'm going to go Pittsburgh. That probably also tells you that Detroit wasn't interested in signing him. So Hamlin, could he come in and just kind of fill in, help with the depth on the team? Absolutely. He'd probably be around a 2-year, $6 million deal. So by no means would it be a huge, massive contract for the team to be straddled with for time. And then the last one, I think this guy's got to be in play for the Lions. It seems like they want to take care of their own more than anything else, and I've got no problem with that. And that would be Levi Onwuzurike. We all get the last month or so of last season. He played pretty dang well. He was noticeable on the field. He made plays. And with Lee McNeil injured for probably at least the first quarter of the season, you probably want to look at someone like him to be a part of your immediate and future considerations. Probably somewhere around 2 years, I don't know, $12 million per season. I mean, he's going to get paid by somebody because he was pretty impressive that last month or 6 weeks or whatever you want to say with it. Whether the Lions will get him, I don't know. But if it's me, I would be paying attention to him and go from there. All right, guys, I just realized I did not send Anthony the link, and he didn't buzz me. So, Anthony from Roar Lions UK. So, let me real quick while on air send that over to him. I have no idea if he's coming on today or not. So, but I do want to be right to him. I know we always have these conversations, and sorry, I'm a little out of it today as I'm a little drained physically and emotionally from the season, let alone the tough loss this season. So, all right, we'll see if he hops on. If not, you guys will have to suffer through me and reading the Duke Crew comments. So let me head on over. You guys got any thoughts on any of these topics or other ones? By all means, throw them on over in the comments section. We'll go from there. All right, I'm scrolling to the top of the screen. You're going to have to give me a moment. JDC, morning all. Back at you. JDC, go Lions. I like the way you're thinking. Moonscar Blade, good morning, Duke Crew. Same to you. Jess, greetings, salutations, Duke Crew. I understand CD wanted more than what Brad was willing to give. Was the contract that different than Reed's? I don't think so, but again, I don't know the full terms of it all. Sorry if I wasn't able to keep up with it all yesterday while trying to get to the bus and to the game and stuff like that. When we get the full details, there might have been more guaranteed money in Carlton Davis's than what Reed got, but again, pay attention to it in time. We'll get full details. Robert, greetings and salutations, everyone, and back at you. Bo, good morning, Duke Crew. I believe our aim is true. Target acquisition in progress. Woo! Yeah, and I agree. I think Brad's going to make some acquisitions, but it's also going to be after, probably most of the big gun free agents, the big price free agents are off the board. Most are saying from different metrics, this is not a great free agent class. This is one of the worst ones, I think they said, in the last 15 years. And I get all that. It comes down to your personal opinion and perspective. I think what we can all agree on is there's just not many high impact players. So are you going to overpay for somebody that's kind of meh? I guess I leave that to your discretion. All right, Marcus, good morning. Dan, the Duke Crew. Dan Skipper is back. Woo! Yes, and I'm going to have to see if I can get him to do another clip for us. Hey, start off a new reel for next year. Robert, J.D. Reed seems very quick. He does, and maybe even DJ Reed. All right. Any more? Good morning, Coach Dan and Duke Crew. Exclamation point. What a team. What a podcast. Thank you for that. What a time to be a Lions fan. What a acquisition. Go Lions. They're, in my opinion, Amik Robertson and Reed have some very similar skill sets. One of the things I can say is they're both going to be susceptible to big body wide receivers, the 6'3", 6'5" guys. They're going to have a hard time guarding those guys. But quicker routes and et cetera, that's where I think both of them excel a little bit more. They're a little bit more shifty. Could be that the Lions are game planning something. All right, Robert, back at you. Skipper is back. Yes, he is. Big Eddie, Justin, not a large difference in terms of numbers that I can see, but DJ has less of a injury history, seems more of a zone corner to me, though. I would say there seems to be some sound wisdom behind those thoughts that you're more of a zone corner. But then again, I haven't watched enough tape on him to really know one way or the other. I'm just going to say the Lions probably have a game plan in place. Anyway, how did Coach do with the game last night? We lost. It was a good game. The other team, though. So for those who don't know, and this is high school stuff, you put out bids to see if you can host the districts. That's the first 3 games of the playoffs. Then the regionals. That's the next 2 games. We were facing a team that we had to drive like over an hour to go play on their home court. They were hosting the regionals, and you could just see they were very comfortable. Didn't have to get on a bus and go that far. In my opinion, that is a factor. Now, would it have changed the game? No. I'm not going there with that. They are a very skilled team, but it would have been nice to face them on a neutral court. At the end of the day, I don't think the score would have been vastly different, but who knows, man? Maybe it would, maybe it wouldn't. But Class Act team, Class Act school. They were just kudos to them, well wishes to them. Hope they do well because they were a real nice team. All right, Aaron, let's see. Morning, Coach Dan and Duke Crew. What up, Doe? We need defensive end and defensive tackle. And yes, I would say you're right. If we can add some depth at both of those spots, I think we're all going to be pretty happy. Marcus, I still believe Lions will acquire a defensive end. Don't sleep on DeMarcus Lawrence. I'll keep that in mind. Clark, oh my gosh, less than 24 hours into this, and I can't believe how many fans are freaking out. Relax, people. There are some that, definitely when you see everybody else signing stuff and you get all the headlines flying at you yesterday, I get why some people kind of hit the panic button a little bit. But the opposite side of that, like you're suggesting, take a deep breath. It's just begun. Let's see what the team ultimately does. Bo, congratulations, Coach, on a great season with your girls. Thank you very much for that. Hey, they played very well. overcame a lot of different situations and superseded a lot of expectations. I don't believe many had us winning, 20 games this year, let alone winning a district. So kudos to the kiddos. All right, Hookadoo, good morning, Duke Crew. Tough game last night, Coach. Your girls had a great season. Yes, they did, and I'm very, very proud of them. Aaron, morning, Coach, and Duke Crew. What up, Joe? We need a defensive end and defensive tackle. Get the rest in the draft. Yeah, it could be what we do. Let's see what they do this week. I think in the next 7 days, that's where we'll probably have a pretty good idea about free agency for us. Anymore, I am hearing that Brad could bring back Smith with a more team-friendly deal. There were some reports about that when Za'Darius was cut, that potentially they were looking at having him return on a more team-friendly deal. Marcus, nice shades, Coach Dan. Hey, I've had those things for a while, and you know what? They're a little scratched up, but I still enjoy wearing them. But thank you for that. Trey, what's good, everybody? Question mark. I think Brad tried to get Sweat to sign, but the Cards outbid us, it seems. That would have been a nice get for us. There was a report yesterday, and I know it came out basically the same time Reed signed with us. I want to say it was actually Anthony from RotUK who passed it on to me and passed it on to some of the rest of us. ESPN was reporting that Sweat was leaning towards signing with the Detroit Lions. Obviously, about 30 minutes later, he signed with the Cards. So my anticipation is if what ESPN reported is correct, Cards just said, hey, man, we got to give him the bag if we want him, or either that or he's somewhere else. Unfortunately for the Lions, it sounds like Brad Holmes made a move, but it just wasn't a good enough move to get him. All right, Trey, anymore, I'm thinking there's a chance for that. Okay. Tori, great season, Coach D. Your team played very well, but the other team you ran into just could not miss a shot. No, I want to say at one point they hit their first 7 threes or something like that. They were like 7 for 7 from three-point range, and we were on them. They were just hitting them, and it kind of went from there, man. Dennis, good morning, Dan and Duke Crew. Back at you. Tori, and please, Brad, get us someone to rush the quarterback not named Davenport. Wait and see what they do in time. Marcus, Coach Dan, do you think the Lions go after Cup? I want to say Cups, man, and everything was happening so fast yesterday with just having to get ready. I want to say there was reports saying Cup went to Minnesota. I don't know if somebody can confirm that to me, but we'll see, I guess. Again, some stuff was getting lost in translation yesterday. Love the DJ Reed signing after CD walk. Just need an edge now. Davenport cannot be the starter. No, probably won't be. Tori, can you start calling him Davin Hurt? Might be true. France, good day all. Let's give Brad and the team this week to see what happens. In your opinion, Brad is allowing the mark to slow before truly diving in? I would agree with that, France. I do think it does seem like the Brad Holmes thing where he doesn't want to be really going after anyone on day 1 or 2 or 3. He wants the market to overall cool. That being said, he did go get Reed, and yes, I think that was in response to Carlton Davis leaving the team. Laughing out loud, says Tori. Pierce, Tori, it fits after playing only 21 games last 3 years. Correct. It does fit. Pierce, let's see again. DJ Reed, great move. Had to get aggressive there after CD walked. Agreed. I think as soon as CD told him, hey, I'm going to New England, they moved to make sure they firmed up that secondary a bit. Hendricks, Skip is back. He is. You're getting your Skip back. Stephanie, good morning, boys. I think Brad is going to add mostly via draft. 0 expectations. We'll address the needs and free agency. Good to see you last night, Coach. It was great to see you. What a year. Even heard the refs gave you some love. They did. So, Bob, one of the guys there, I don't know if you were, you were there, but if you saw the taller official, man, when I used to coach in college, he was a ref then. So he's been reffing at least 30 years, and it was good to see him. I was giving them all 3 of them because they were getting up and down the court with both teams. I mean, you could see they were, putting out a lot of energy. The officials sweating pretty good. So every time I could, I'd try to, talk to them, say something nice to them. And they did say, hey, most polite coach we've had all season. So they made me laugh a little bit with some jokes too. All right, guys, I see we've got Anthony on deck. So let's real quick get over to our special guest of the day. You know him, you love him. It's probably a little bit later in the day for him than it is for us. Let's bring on Anthony from Roar Lions UK. Anthony, how are you today, sir?
I'm doing good, Dan. Thanks. Hope you're well. Hope the Jew crew are all well.
I think so. And we got the free agency hitting us. It's a great time of the year to be a fan of any NFL franchise because hope springs eternal. Let's start off with Marcus Davenport is the Detroit Lion. Do you think he is the only move Brad Holmes makes this offseason at end, defensive end?
Absolutely not. He's going to be. I'm hoping he's sort of going to be in the edge 4-5 category. He's not reliable. He doesn't stay healthy. He's not who you want as your bookend pass rusher opposite Hutch. So no, I figure we're going to bring in quite a few more reinforcements at the position yet, because we've still got a long way to go. We need at least 2 more high-end ones. Hopefully we might get one out of free agency, and we'll go high in the draft for one as well. Yes, no, he is not the answer at that other position, not even close. There's a reason they're paying him $1.6 million this year, because he's not that good and he's not that healthy.
He's not. So, and I do, once we got the full terms of his deal, I said, that's actually not that bad of a gamble, I guess you'd say, because like you point out, he's always injured. The Lions aren't putting much money on the line for him, so if he can stay healthy, maybe he got a real win there. All right, we got a new cornerback in town. Carlton Davis is gone. Reed is in. What do you break of this situation?
I think Brad's done incredibly well in the circumstances. We saw the market for corners was particularly good yesterday. Obviously, Carlton got his $20 million deal with the Patriots, which I will not begrudge him for. Like, he's earned that. You go make your money, King. You did well for us. You go and get your money there. Byron Murphy made $22 million a year. Paulson Adebo made $18 million a year. And we've got DJ Reed in for 16. And let's face it, Paulson Adebo can't wipe his shoes when it comes to talent. Brad's got incredibly good value here at the position. Like, we need a solid veteran corner in there. We were going to have to pay a corner really regardless if we wanted to be serious about contending next year, because, we're in a Super Bowl window, and he's not $4 million per year off the price, and a whole lot of guaranteed money off the price as well for someone who is just as good as Carlton and, could even be better for us in our scheme. So I think it's a tremendous piece of business from Brad, because these things count. That $4 million we've saved, that can go to someone else now. That can top up another contract that we might not have had before. That could pay for an extra player that we might need. You've got to be diligent. And with, the market as it is, he's got incredibly good value. He's probably got the best value deal of the day for a corner.
You look at a lot of what the Lions have done this offseason so far, and it's incredibly early, but they do seem, with signing Barnes, I guess you could say Davenport, seem focused on re-signing their own guys. Do you think there's a big value to that? Do you think it's the right move, the wrong move? What are your overall thoughts?
I think it's the correct move. You've got to be patient. You've got to wait for the right players, because that's what we've done so far. Like, every year free agency comes around and all these teams go in and splurge, and the Lions generally are on the back burner a little bit. But when they get their guys, they get the right guys. And we look at how we've constructed our roster. Most of it, a good chunk of it is our own draft picks, undrafted free agents, guys who've earned their way here. And we won 15 games last year. And, for a stupidly bad list of injuries, we could have gone further. But you look at teams like, let's use the Bears, for example, because they're just there. Every single year, they're spunking out massive contracts in free agency. Montez Sweat, the pair of linebackers, the 2 linebackers they paid a combined $100 million to last year, constantly again and again overpaying. That center they bought yesterday, he's earning more money than Frank Ragnow. Like, Frank Ragnow's the best center in the NFL, and they're paying an average center more than him because you've got to overinflate the price for it. You're never going to build a culture that way. Just bringing in loads of guys in free agency, not drafting properly. They've not got their own young core, like our Panay, our Amon-Ra, or Rodrigo, all these guys who set the culture here and set the tone. That's how you build a successful team, not what they do. So we've done well by being diligent, by waiting for the right players. We've gotten to this spot on the roster where we are. Yes, one signing yesterday. We would have liked more, but that's one really good signing that's going to make us better and has mitigated a big loss to this side. And we just need to keep being patient, because we will find the right ones. So I think it's the right way to go about it. Barnes is important to us. We spent 4 years developing him. First 3 years, it was tough sledding. And you don't want to go through that entire process, finally get them to being a good player, and then let them go. Because then we've just got to draft a new guy, and we've got to do it again. You want to keep those guys on your roster, and he wanted to be here. He said he didn't want to go anywhere else. Again, indicative of the culture that you have on this team, that these players, he could have gone and got a bag somewhere. He didn't even want to consider it. He's come here, he stayed here, he wants to be here. DJ Reader's probably taken a little bit of a less deal to come here and go win himself a Super Bowl ring. You're seeing the benefits now of what we've done. And by looking after our own and paying our own and looking after the guys we bring in, players want to come here. So they've absolutely done it right.
So real quick, you talked about the fact that the Lions developed Derek Barnes, that it took some time to get there. We've seen that with other drafted players of theirs. Last year's draft, I get people in media get paid, to write stories, whatever, whether there's any actual factuality behind it. I'll leave that to everybody to determine. Lions last year's draft class is ranked as one of the worst in the NFL. But in your opinion, should we wait and revisit that in a year or two when some of these guys have hit year 2 or 3? You mentioned Derek Barnes took a few years. I mentioned Melifonwu took a few years. How good could last year's draft class, in your opinion, be in time?
It could be very good. You give 3 years to a draft class. There's a reason why you give 3 years to a draft class, because for some positions as well, we took 2 corners. Corner's an incredibly difficult position to adapt to in the NFL, and it takes these time to be able to, realize your potential. Like with Barnes, these middle linebackers, these guys, it's tough for them to come in and immediately be great day one because there's so much to the position, there's so much to your job you've got to learn. And he learned in a trial by fire. It was not easy. There were a lot of bad plays on tape from him there, but eventually he got there. People would have chucked him out the door after year 2. Levi, people were ready to chuck him out the door after year 3. And, rightly so with the injury history and that, but he still got there. And the thing that is indicative with Brad's picks is whether it takes 1 year or whether it takes 4 years, most of them get there. And we've just got to remain patient with the process. Same with Broderick and Colby. You've got to give them year 3. If they're still bad this time next year, by all means, show them the door. But you've got to keep giving them the opportunity to develop. And that's how these guys succeed. Most of his draft picks have hit. There's very few that are not on the roster with us. So, especially in last year's case, Terrion was forced into a position of being a starter from day one, really. Yeah. Rakestreel's obviously been hurt. And then, you have taken development picks. Manu was never going to be ready. Varkey was never going to truly be ready. Wingo was never going to truly be ready. You've got to give these, they're not just all going to hit in year 1. So people saying the draft class is a bust in terms of production in year 1, yeah, but in terms of its overall effectiveness, absolutely not. You can't write it off at all at this moment in time. That's just asinine. So no, I'm not worried about it at all yet.
So question here, and this kind of plays off something Don Bird just threw in there. A lot of fans are pointing out that, man, the Bears are making all these moves. We're not making anything. What's going on here? In your opinion, really, what does the off-season amount to? Because teams that seem to make all these headline-grabbing moves, I mean, they're great for media, for content creators, whatever. But they are, in your opinion, are they really great for the franchise?
Let's just think of the situation that Chicago's in at the moment. Ryan Poles is on a hot seat. He has finished smack bang last in the NFC North 3 years in a row after promising to win that thing. One more bad year, his job's gone. He's got to win now. He cannot go through a rebuild. He cannot just say to Ben, yeah, let's tear this thing down. Let's start again with Caleb. Let's go and get it. He's got to win now. That's why he's been bringing in all these hugely free-priced agents. That's why they're spending tons of money. That's why they're importing talent in. But what does it do? All that imported talent that's played against us and couldn't beat our team when it was absolutely injury-ravaged. We still beat them twice. And yes, they play us hard, but there's a reason why they can't beat us, because they've not got their homegrown core who give enough of a damn about that team. Our team plays harder. Our team plays better. And when it's in a hole, our team can outlast them. And, people saying they're signing all these guys. Yeah, it's great on paper, but why are they having to sign all these high-priced free agents to bring in? Because they ain't got no good young talent there to pay themselves, whereas we do. We pay in lots of good young talent here. We don't need to bring in tons of high-priced free agents to supplement our roster. We just need to bring in the few right guys and keep building through the draft. And we will, the draft's coming up in a month and a bit now. We've got a few high picks in there. You're going to add more talent to the roster. And you've got summer to go yet. You've got roster cut downs. There's all sorts. We got Charles Harris on roster cut downs. We got John Kaminsky on roster cut downs. We got good, solid parts to this team in the summer. So this isn't the only time we can add new talent to this team at this moment. We've got a lot of avenues left. And quite frankly, give me the guy whose team has gotten better every single year. Yes, we didn't get to the NFC Championship game last year, but 1 seed for the first time, 15 wins for the first time. Every single year, this team has broke new ground. And it's had a little minor setback, but you're not going to put against them putting that to bed next year. So I look at all these teams spending, just willy-nilly or whatever. And I think I'm glad I don't need to do that. I would rather be in a situation where I've already got my guys and the guys actually care about us and not the money. What were we saying under Patricia's era? All those big money deals, we used to bring in Trey Flowers, all those Jamie Collins. Oh, yeah, big money free agent guys, Coleman. They didn't give a damn about this team. They didn't care squat. And what did we get out of that? Nothing. We were a laughing stock. So I'd rather be in the situation we're in now. I don't care about other teams splurging out. We can still kick their ass regardless.
So if you're Brad Holmes, it does seem like if history has taught us something about his norms, you typically make one move in the first couple of days, and then you kind of wait a few days, let the market cool down, and then go after something. Who do you feel like, or what positions, maybe that's a better question, do you think he'll try to target with free agency the rest of the way?
I think I would like to see another guard brought in. I'm not keen on having Glasgow there for next year. You've still got guys like Brandon Scherf out there. Hell, if you want to bring a younger guy in like Tevin Jenkins, I think that would be ideal because we need to scream about this every year. We need good depth on this team. We don't have the depth, and we have been extremely lucky with a lack of injuries on the offensive line these last couple of years. That is not going to hold, so I would like to see them bring in another vet on the offensive line and then add to it through the draft. Obviously, I would like to see them bring a new edge in. You've still got the likes of Aziz Ojolari out there. If you want to bring in a bit more of a veteran, if you want to bring Za'Darius back, I'm all right to that. If you want to bring in, just guys who, even Calais Campbell, if you want to do that, fine. But then you want to supplement your D-line through the draft. You want some high picks in the draft on your D-line to really get that going, get that elite young talent on there. But certainly guard, I'm looking at now for free agency class, and edge to get that one extra veteran in before we kill it in the draft.
All right, with the one question I did want to ask you, Reed, when he was with the Jets, it seemed like mostly a zone corner. I'm assuming that's just because the Jets' schemes and philosophies. So one of the questions we're going to have is, does this mean that the Lions could potentially be switching the D to more zone coverage, or do you feel like, hey, he's a man corner, or he can play man, he's just in a system over with the Jets that mostly asked him to play zone?
I think he took quite a lot of man coverage snaps last year. I've seen they changed their scheme during the season. Like, he played a lot of man to start with, and then they veered away from it. I don't think you change what you do here. Like, the thing that most impressive about him that sticks out is the separation metrics. Like, he doesn't let guys separate from him. And he's really good up at the line of scrimmage when it comes to his physicality. He gets up in guys' grills, puts them off the routes. That's something we've never really had here. We've had some of these good corners, but we've never really had someone who can jam at the line of scrimmage really well. That's what he's going to do that he doesn't before. And as I say, the separation metric is really impressive. So, we've had so much problems against guys who just seem to get open against ours, and we're not necessarily the best against that. So I think he's just very versatile. But I think he brings things to this team that we've not really had before, and I'm looking forward to seeing it. I think he'll be a big success here. I know the interception numbers and that don't jump off the chart. What is it, 6 in 7 years? But to be honest, I don't care. There's nearly 40 pass breakups in there. The guy knows where the ball is. Guy doesn't give up much yak. Guy is he's a blanket when it comes to his coverage. So I just think he's going to be a really good addition to us regardless. And for someone like Terrion, I think he'll be good as well, because Terrion could potentially play quite similar to him. So, yeah, I think he's a good fit for us. And I think he'll be a good role model for the young guys as well.
Okay. And then let me get one last thought from you here. Lions wide receiver position, we get who the top two guys are. I know a lot of fans want Tim Patrick to come back. Do you think the Lions try to bring him back? Do you think they try to draft somebody, or do you think there's somebody out? Because let's be honest, there are a billion pretty decent free agent wide receivers out there. Do you think the Lions look to make a move for somebody who's currently not with the team?
In an ideal world, it depends with Tim Patrick. Like, he only had 300 odd yards last year. People have an affinity to him, but the production wasn't game breaking. I think regardless, you do need to get a future X wide receiver in the draft. Like you need your guy for the future. Like we've got Amon-Ra, we got J-Mo, we need our outside guy now. If you're going to develop him, because apparently Antoine Green's about to retire because of his injuries, which is a shame. We're going to need a new guy who is out there, and whoever comes in his place, like if it's Patrick or someone similar, that's fine. I think we do need that veteran in the room on the outside, and we need to draft someone who plays on the outside as well for the future, so we keep that locked up. So I'm not sure whether I'd like it to be Patrick or not. It depends on the money. If you're not going to pay him too much, and I think that's fine. But certainly, you need an outside X, and you need to develop, and you need to draft an outside X as well. That's where we need to go with the receivers.
One last question just came to me. Just want to get your thoughts. If the Lions have to resign just one of these two guys, who would it be? Levi Onwuzurike or Ife Melifonwu?
Levi. I think we need good depth on the D line. We need established depth on the D line as well. So obviously, Broderick's still developing. Aleem's not going to be healthy next year. It takes some weight off to have a guy like him in the room, and I think you can re-sign him for a decent deal given the injury history as well. I mean, personally, what I'd do, I'd give him a 1-year deal with a good wad of money in it and say, look, just give us one more fully healthy year. You're back-to-back, stack them in a row, and then we'll talk either about a bigger contract here, or you can go and absolutely kill it in free agency next year, because he would be one of the most sought-after free agents if he stayed healthy again. But certainly I'd do it the way of keeping Levi here and still add during the draft to DT and to edge, because as I say, you need that depth along the front four just to make sure you can keep getting after the QB. With Iffy's case, I think we've got enough guys. You can draft the safety later and develop them behind Branch and Kirby, and it's less of a loss to you instantly. I'd like to bring them both back, but certainly Levi will be top of the list for me.
All right. Well, hey, Anthony, as always, I want to thank you for coming on the show, giving us your expert opinions and thoughts. Why don't you go ahead and give yourself a shout out, tell everybody where they can find you, subscribe, or, and have access to all of your great work.
Yeah, you can find me at Roar of the Lions UK. We're a group of Detroit Lions fans from across the pond. We go live on Mondays, talk college ball on Wednesdays. So if you ever want to stop by and say hi, then please do so. Roar of the Lions UK. And thank you, Dan, as always. Thank you, Dew Crew. You're going to have to get used to this because your hour goes forward before ours does. So you've changed by an hour. Usually you're not going for another 45 minutes here yet. So I'll remember the time change. So I was walking around today, I'm thinking, oh my God, why has he sent the link now? Like, oh God, our hour doesn't go forward till the end of March. So we have these few weeks where it goes really weirdly out of sync.
Well, again, as always, man, I want to thank you for hopping on the show. Thanks for all you do for Lions fans everywhere. And we'll catch you on the next Lions Talk Live, man.
See you later. Take care.
Have a great day, man.
You too.
All right, guys, let's get back over to you guys in the comment section. We got about 10 minutes to go. Phil, Brad's cooking, ain't smelling very well yet. We'll find out. Give it some time, my friend, Dr. Detroit. Frank, think you need to change your name to Brad Holmes. We'll go with that. Let's see, Gary, Green Salutations, Coach and Dew Crew. Do you think the Lions would be interested in defensive tackle Allen? I saw Jared got a boatload of cash. Maybe if it's on a cheap contract. Otherwise, I would say if you're going to sign a defensive tackle, it does seem to me at least Lions would be more interested in retaining Levi Onwuzurike than bringing in Allen. But maybe Levi signed somewhere else, and hey, Allen is the next man up on the board. I guess we'll have to wait and see what shakes out. Don, I'm willing to bet top dollar that all these teams who overspent in free agency won't have, better records than us. I'd say that's where you're probably spot on, Don. And I get, man, it's just awesome, this time of year when you see, man, my team just went out and got this guy, that guy. It's euphoria in the streets. Hope springs eternal. But at the end of the day, how many of these teams really see massive improvement or big results from them? I get if it's a quarterback or something, probably more likely to have an upside. I think the Dollar General Brad, though, is more interested in having a complete team, a lot of depth because of it. We'll have to see. But what we can say is the last 3 seasons, Brad Holmes and this organization, the trend has been our friend going up and away as far as winning. All right, Proud Cheddar, I missed the 5 headlines. Hey, you can always rewind or whatever a little bit and rewatch them, man. Sorry I missed them. Frank, don't like cojones, but I would love to have a beer with Brad Holmes. All right? Ain't nothing wrong with that, man. Coach Rock, congratulations, Coach, on your season. And the bus ride takes your legs away. We had to ride 5 hours to play other teams. Home turf and the legs were gone. Other teams, though, yeah. I think I noticed, Coach, this year, maybe than past years, for whatever reason, maybe I was just more cognizant of it. It felt like when I would watch not just our team, but other teams, if you had more than like a 15, 20-minute bus drive somewhere, a lot of our away games were about an hour away. It's just hard to get kids, emotionally back into the game. Or if you're at home, you just familiar settings, not having to go on that bus ride. I thought you could notice it big time. And I don't, and again, it's nothing to discredit the team we played. I don't want it to come across that way. It's just something I noticed well before last night. I talked to people about it for months leading into it. The team we played last night was phenomenal. I give them their facilities people, their coach, their players, their parents, all sorts of credit. Just class act around the way. It's just my opinion. It's for whatever reason, maybe it's distraction of phones or whatever. It's tough for a lot of kids to get on that bus ride and then play at a high level once they get off an hour and a half bus ride. All right, JK, Brad is to change his pan fry oil. It stinks. Okay. Dr. Detroit, Brad is cooking the same old meal as the last 3 years. No pass rush. We'll find out what they can do. Hopefully they can change that. Phil, are there elevator cleats for DJ 5'9"? Hey, I can remember a lot of very good corners in this league being around that height. Dre Bly was only like 5'9", and that did not impact his abilities on the field at all. The Trim Reaper, smash that like button. Oh, yeah, I'll go with that. Amik Robinson, 5'8". We love him. Good point on that number. I should have considered that too. Kurt Steele, the grit with Brett, 100%. Phil, Anthony, JK, Reed needs high heels. Just kidding. One funky Doc. Who is the big pass rusher that was a free agent that you really wanted? We'll find out. Dr. Troy Meek is great where he played at 5'9" and on the outside isn't. Okay. Reed's $12 million less, and he's a better player, team player. Is the team game, not one man game like some people think? Yeah, it is all about the 11 guys on the field on one side. I get what you're saying there. Hookadoo. Morning, Anthony. JK, the Brit, 100%. Bo, what's wrong with 5'9"? Darryl Green was 5'6". Darryl Green, one of the fastest corners, even at age 40 in the league. Kurt Steele, Dr. Troy, he played in the slot most of the season. He did. Don Burr, Amik played out versus Justin Jefferson. Jefferson had like 40 yards. Yeah, he did not have much. Amik Robinson was all over him, man. Dr. Troy, I just want them to solve that issue after 4 years. 4 years. We're still looking about it, but we got our weapons for Goff and can't use them all right? Phil, maybe DK and Amik can double up. Meeks OJ's on shoulders. Okay. 101 dead puppies. Dang it, Brad. Think you blew it this time, not getting a monster pass rush on free agency. We had that dang money. The reports were that the Lions were real close to getting Josh Sweat. It's just unfortunate the Cardinals outbid them. Let's see, Bradley. Good morning, Coach and Lions GM. We don't make another move. We are happy with our team. I'll go with that. Dr. Troy, Kurt, they both can play the slot, dude. Yeah, they both can't play there. Somebody will have to play outside. Hookadoo. I was thinking the same thing, Bo Booth. Dr. Detroit, Don, for what, one game? How many games did Amik play? I'll wait. All right. Kurt Steele, Detroit, watch our show at 8 for my thoughts on Reed. All right. Dr. Detroit, okay. Phil, with Goff finally put his glasses on in the playoffs so he can see the receivers. Man, I don't know where all this Goff hate's coming from, man. I mean, he had one bad game. The year before that, he had 3 pretty good games. So 1 out of 3 or 1 out of 4, I guess it is. Man, my math isn't good in the morning. One funky. Don, give me a name. You can't just say fix it if there isn't anyone that's a free agent actually fix it. Yeah. I mean, maybe that's it. Maybe the Lions didn't have good grades on the rest of them, didn't think they were worthy of the money. That's a thought. All right, let me power through here and try to get some people who haven't been on as much. I think we got 5 minutes left, and I think I'm about 25 minutes behind in the comments. Let's see, Bradley, what do you got? Dr. Troy, quit being so negative. Enjoy what the deal made a deal. Okay, I'll go with that. Enjoy what's happened. JK, this means Rakestraw has to step up. Yeah, could be. Maybe they have belief in him stepping up. Phil Rakestraw gets hurt walking on the field. Let's hope he does not. That would not be good. Davenport is a stud, maybe a stud in the making. We'll find out. Don Burr, one funky. That was for Dr. Detroit. Not I'm on your side. Okay. One funky. 11 out must have been an autocorrect. It happens. It happens to all of us. JDC, go Lions. Dr. Detroit Davenport is a stud. He stands there all season like a pile of wood. Hey, you got to start somewhere, right? Motown, true Phil, when that 6'5" receiver comes down, DJ jumps up and takes it from him. Hopefully he's got some hops then. Let's see. JK, I'm chill. I'm a break straw from now on. Okay. Thomas, there are two players on the Lions that need to show something significant this preseason. Scoresdale and Martin. Scoresdale and Martin, I'm thinking is what it is. I don't know. I'm guessing. If they are so, dump them at the last team cut. All right, we'll go with that. JK, oh my gosh, I forgot about Wingo. Yeah, don't forget about Wingo. Maybe they have big plans for him. 101, deport Ben Johnson. Deport Ben Johnson. All right, we'll get him out of here. Maybe that's a part of the game plan. Dr. Trey, stale fish again. All right. Well, D River, one funky Phil is two. All right. You're not going to be mean to people here. All right. Frank the Tank, bad boy Ant-Man. Yes, he is. He is a bad boy indeed. Frank Tank, good job, Ant-Man. Phil, thanks, D Driver, coming from you. It's a compliment. All right. Hey, you got to get compliments in life. Southwest, every year the team that spends huge free agents doesn't do anything. It's been that way for years. Yeah, I would agree with that. Yeah, if you're doing it, I think a lot of times it's just trying to sell tickets. It doesn't mean the product on the field is going to be any better. Dynamite, Brad Cheap's butt couldn't even get Chase Young. No, they could not. They did not. Maybe they didn't want him, though, to be fair. Don Burr, Dr. Detroit, you said top defensive tackle is free agency. He was top dog. You didn't say name 10, okay? Motown Mitch, Milton was 1. Levi is 2 at defensive tackle. Could be. Let's see, Frank Tank, Doctor probably doesn't even watch football. What is soccer? Well, it's not, if you like Ted Lasso, you watch at least a little bit of soccer. JK Ant-Man upping the ante. There you go. Mr. Ed, we lost a very good quarterback and we signed a very good quarterback. So are we no better or worse off than we were? Waiting for the draft to improve the team. It could be exactly what they're trying to do. Yeah, the draft. Let's see, Pierce, I'm not sure what numbers were, but I'm sure AZ paid him well. Arizona, I think they gave him a pretty good contract. Dynamite, even if Levi comes back, we need to draft a defensive tackle. I 100% agree with that. No doubts there. Gina, I'm still holding out hope that Brad brings back Z. Me too, man. I think so, at a more team-friendly deal. Maybe that's what will go down. Josh, signing Jonathan Allen to Detroit by 12 p.m. Eastern time today. I wouldn't be upset if they do. Gary, bring a lot of Brinks trucks chasers playing football. A lot of truth to that, but hey, it is their careers. Don Burt, 19 per for Sweat is overpay. He benefited playing with the Eagles defense line. That could definitely be the case. Maybe the Lions representation said, hey, there's a price we're not willing to go over because they do have some worries that maybe is the byproduct of playing with those other players. Drum, what do you got? The dollar store Brad won't make a big move. I would agree with that. Pierce, Donberg agreed 19 million, a little too much. 16 to 17 would have been reasonable in your opinion, and the getting a similar advantage with Hutch on the other side. But now he's a dude for the Arizona Cardinals. Yes, correct with that. Motown Mitch, Brad passed on Carter for Gibbs, Laporta, Branch, and Campbell. Wish you would have passed again. Yeah, well, let's hope we can do something like that again. Dr. Troy, Brad traded Campbell for Carter. Let that sink in. JK, ditch iffy G's. All right, we might be ditching them. Southwest, I'm also sick of acting like Tim Patrick is the answer. He's not. It's cool to have him. We need to get better wide receiver 3. His old butt better come for cheap or buy. Yeah, I think they're going to try to look for somebody with a little bit more speed, maybe about the same size or bigger. Mike K, budget Brad, he does work with a budget, doesn't he? Frank the Tank, Levi, Mr. Ed, is Brad cleaning house on defense and making room for the draft? Could be that. Could be playing a factor, sure. Dr. Detroit, no, I'm not. Most agree with me, okay? Just, I'm not against taking a shot at Chase Young. He was pretty good last year. Across from Hutch, he'll look great. Could be indeed. Although I want to say he signed somewhere yesterday. Maybe I'm wrong with that. I was pretty distracted yesterday. All right, one funky. The fan base is upset every year. There's probably a lot of truth to that. Mike K, Brad needs to change the grease. It's rancid. All right, time to upgrade the grease. Chris, Chase Young off the board. Yeah, I thought I saw something about that, but I wasn't 100% sure. Frank Thing, what up, UK? Where's my boy Ash? I will find out. Walt, Hit that like button for Dan and the Duke Crew. Woo! Hey, yeah, if you guys can, hit the like, hit the subscribe. Frank Tank, Chase Young's garbage. Okay. JC, Mike Cade, the old grease is made better. All right. Brent, thanks, Anthony. Yeah, always got to thank you for his time and efforts, man. Dynamite, time for what nobody's going to be left to sign. It will diminish, but it doesn't mean he can't find that diamond in the rough, right? All right, a couple more, and then I'm out here. Todd, sorry for the loss, coach. It happens, man. If you don't win the championship, your last game is going to be a loss. JC, let the NFL War Games continue, and they will, my friend. They will. Brent, congrats on your good season, coach. Thank you very much for that. J-Mo, good morning, coach, and congratulations on the win. What up, Duke Crew? Go Lions. Woo! All right, I'll go with that. Dr. Detroit, Don, I said the same thing last 2 years, and you guys are the ones saying Super Bowl. When are you guys going to admit you're wrong after 4 or 5 years? Laughing out loud. Bradley, Brad Holmes equals Bob Quinn. Let's hope not. Josh Prince, trade for Hendrickson to Detroit by 12 p.m. Eastern Standard Time today. We'll see if they do that. Let's see. Don Burr, Dr. Troy, okay, we'll get you a right end and win it all. I'd like that. Other teams got better. That's simple. All right. Frank Thing, turn off Don. All right. Well, you gotta turn something. DM5, I guess, edge and defensive line through the draft then. Yeah, probably what they're going to do, 100%. Josh signed Dante Fowler to Detroit by 12 p.m. Eastern Standard Time today. Man, you got a lot of people coming over here at 12 today, so I'm going to have breaking news ready. Gary, I'm over the golf. I hope someone works with him during the season. Kind of does good, not win Super Bowls. All right. 101, we built one of the best teams in the league through the draft. It's time for a big trade to put us over the top while we are this close. All right. Let's see if they make that trade. Southwest, all you golf haters, go back to sleep. You sound stupid. He is a top 5 quarterback after Mahomes and Allen. I don't care for any quarterback, period. Okay. Good to know. Joe C., hey, Coach and Duke Crew, back at you, my friend. Good to see you, my friend. Been a minute, it feels like. Look at you. Happy trails, Duke Crew. DM5, Davenport can be a good player if he stays healthy. Hopefully this is the first season he produces and stays healthy. Davenport, 9 sacks and 2 forced fumbles. Go Lions. I'm down with that, 100%. Motown, don't make any sense how show you have the brain. People don't like that, all right? Dynamite, draft Higgins from Iowa State. Maybe they do. Phil, Joe C., good to see you, 100% there. Harold, so far, Holmes, first 24 hours in free agency is not encouraging. All right. Yeah, but thankfully there's more to come. How's your dog? Says Hookadoo to Joseph. All right. A couple more, then got to go. Let's see. Dr. Detroit for $3 million. Dumb move. DM5 signed Cleus Campbell for depth on the cheap. Yeah, I wonder if they do that. Dynamite, cutting Z was stupid. I hope they bring him back, though. I do hope so. Motown. Who is Z with now? I don't think he's signed with anybody, if I'm not mistaken. Hookadoo, I hope that will get him to eat. We'll find out. Let's see. Joseph C., thanks me too. Thrift store, Brad. A lot of truth there. All right, Brian, Dr. Troy to me, but happy about Reed. Yeah, I am happy about him too. How many crybabies today? We'll find out. Motown Mitch, who is Z with now? I don't think he's signed with anybody. Any word on Kevin Zeitler? Nothing official that I'm aware of. Hookadoo. Try the boiled chicken. Gotta like chicken. 101. Good show today, as always. Thank you for that. Thank you very much for that. Okay, thank you. No worries. Motown don't have Carter or Campbell. Got Branch, Laporta, and Gibbs. Seems smart to me. Got 3 for 1 in my opinion. So yes, Dr. Troy, I'm not saying that throw money at anyone. Just saying something. People over exaggerating what I am saying. Yeah, it happens, man. All right, guys, I'm gonna go on and get out of here. End up the day. When breaking news happens later today, I'll get it over to you as quick as possible. If you would be so kind before checking out, hit the thumbs up button, hit the like button, hit all the buttons. Take care. Enjoy the rest of your day. Do something kind for someone you don't know. And we'll see you all in the next Lions Talk Live. Take care, everybody. You're still here? What are you doing here? It's over. The show's over. Go home.